Hi
You
guys,
come
welcome
back, you web up straight away.
Yes, there's a lot of chat and laughter in the background because we're just having a discussion, and we're going to continue that discussion right now. So tune in. Hi guys, welcome back to the Man United Agenda. Yes, unfortunately, we lost over the weekend 3-0. Someone was on vacation, someone was shopping, and someone else was not around. So we couldn't do any watch-along or post-match show. But what we will do very quickly, even though everyone's covered it, is touch on a little bit of that right now with the little intro. As you know, it's Monday, and the week after the weekend, we usually sort of talk about our football teams, Sunday teams, Saturday teams, and our weekend in general. So I'm going to start with the returning bath time with Vaughan. Are you privy to say where you've been and what you've been up to?
Yeah, I've been Christmas shopping in New York and had a lovely time. I did see the United game, and it did really put a downer on my day. I've got to be honest. I went ice skating later, and I really enjoyed that. And shout out to Rebel. I did hear about the naked cowboy he keeps asking about.
What's all that about then?
I don't know. Like, I don't know why he's so obsessed with this, but this is like one of the village people or something just like hangs out naked near an ice rink in New York. And for some reason, Rebel thought that I needed to be made aware of that. I don't know what he was expecting me to go and do. Join in.
How's the flight? Not a lot. I hear there's a lot of turbulence going over that sort of straight from UK to America, the East Coast of America. Was it a nice flight?
Yeah, I just watched the extended edition of Lord of the Rings, unsurprisingly, and went to sleep. It was great.
Well, it's nice to have you back, and obviously, yeah, you watched the game, and yeah, you said you're disappointed, as is Mr. B. Mr. B, how's your weekend? I hear you didn't have a game on Saturday, did you?
Nah, no game. So I had a lie-in, and then I went out and didn't watch the game, and it doesn't sound like I missed much, to be fair. I spent Sunday recovering from the stresses of a Saturday night, and we're back now to discuss the stresses what we're going to get tomorrow.
Oh dear, it's rather gloomy in here, isn't it? There's only one person that could cheer us all up, and that's our very own Solo. He's in the house as well with his great attitude. Solo, how you doing? He says, good evening, everyone. I'm also a positive person, but unfortunately, the way Ten Hag's lost the dressing room, we're going to get a good see into. Okay, I'm surprised by that. Big T saying, rumour has it, things are so grim that even the Greeper won't turn up. Bayern are going absolutely going to tank us 100%, says Big G as well. Good evening to Andrew Williams, hope you're doing well. Big evening to Morning Star, hope you're doing well. I haven't seen you for a while, hope you're good. Yay, Bath Time is back from the Bermuda Triangle. He was creating Bermuda Triangles when he played against Colombians five-a-side, weren't you?
Big up the Colombians.
Darius is to blame for all this. He chased David De Gea out of the club, and Scott got a starting role. Big up to Damien Walsh. How you doing, Damien? Nice to see you. And Big T again saying, let's start at the beginning of Bournemouth Rock. Bruno Silly, week pass.
I'm sorry. Scott McTominay's great ball control. Is that what we're going to talk about? These are professional footballers. The least he should be able to do is control a football, not let it bounce off his foot 10 feet. So, no, it wasn't the pass. It was the crap ball control by Scott McTominay. Sorry, Big T.
Scott McTominay, we'll be talking about him a bit tonight, Mr. B. Brace yourself, because there's more to come. Just going back to the game, I just want to touch on something that's, I think, it's been a big talking point, is that Bruno's going to miss the game against Liverpool at Anfield. Did anyone see the booking? Because I would have preferred him to get booked for a Cellini tackle, you know, saving us from a break or transition or something like that. But it was a bit of a petulance, I imagine.
He's a pussy. He is. He took until the 84th minute because he didn't want to play at Anfield because he didn't want to get humiliated. So he said whatever he said to the ref, knowing he was going to get a card. And then he has the bullshit to apologise afterwards. Nah, man. Nah, man, I've lost a lot. I've lost a lot for him. I've lost a lot of
That's
respect for
intentional
him
then.
for that. Of course it was. Of course it was. Everybody knew he was under suspension. Everybody knew. We were even talking in the group, laughing. Is he going to get through the whole game? Is he going to get through the whole game? Do it for a foul. You know what I mean? Don't do it for being petulant. You're our captain, and now you're not playing at Liverpool because you don't want to get tanked. Nah, man.
I don't agree, Mr. B. I think we've seen so often from Bruno that he runs his mouth. He loses control of himself. Like he's never in control, is he? And he just runs that mouth non-stop. We've seen it time and time again. I don't think he's trying to get booked. I just think that he can't control himself. And
yeah, but as a captain, when you're running in mouth bath time, sometimes you can be saying positive stuff, can't you?
yeah, I mean, I normally just flirt with the linos. I find that that's the best way of getting good decisions. Is to always appeal to the linesman, not the referee. But yeah, I mean, I've never got a yellow card for talking back to anyone. That I've got a yellow carded for other stuff, but not for chatting. But I just think it's indicative of Bruno that in a system that requires a huge amount of sort of control and patience and self-discipline, that Bruno is really lacking in every area at the moment. I don't think Mr. B is wrong to be livid with him. I just don't think he did it intentionally. I think he's like a child. He cannot control himself.
So what exactly happened there? There was a call against him, and he was complaining to the referee, and the referee decided to book him. But he must have said something, to get himself in the book, something negative towards the ref. And at that time, it's just the timing of it, is it? I saw Andy Gray and Richard Keys, the original guys from Sky Sports back in the day when you could say whatever you wanted, and they got sacked for it anyway. But they're still around, and they were saying the other day, they asked a question. Was it intentional? Richard Keys asked it to Andy. Andy said no. And Andy asked the same question to Richard Keys. And Richard Keys done a Mr. B and said it was intentional. He felt it was intentional. I can't believe that. I've heard of things like Romario missing games or Neymar missing games to go to carnival, that kind of thing. I've never really, I don't know, maybe there's stories out there, but have you ever heard of players intentionally missing games, especially big games where you want to impress?
He doesn't want to impress. He doesn't want to impress him one day.
You think he's hiding from it?
Yeah, I do. I really, really do. I've been backing Bruno for so long.
Yeah.
But I was so mad. I was
Are
so
you let
mad.
down by him?
Yeah. I'm disgusted. Disgusted.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I'm not sure. I think it's inconclusive. And I think what I would have liked to have seen him, like I said earlier, to get booked for a proper challenge or like a Chiellini one, pulling someone back to stop a transition. So the way it happened, it does raise a bit of suspicion, I imagine. Just going to go to a couple of comments here on that topic. Andrew Williams, how you doing? He says, I've been banging on about Scott Bruno combo in midfield for weeks. Does not work. UK Strange saying we should drop a nana tomorrow, give the Turkish some game time. I don't believe Bruno got a yellow on purpose, says UK Strange as well. Big T saying, what captain gets suspended for the biggest game of the year? We will get onto the pointless 40-yard pass in a minute. Go on.
I know what he's talking about.
What is he talking about?
He's talking about how maybe 70th minute, 60th minute, something like that. We have decent control on the left-hand side, and Bruno just fired
it out of play.
Yeah, he just hit one of his balls in, and it was like, I think everyone would have groaned when they saw it. It was the worst of Bruno. So that's what I was making noises about on Monday.
Okay, good point, guys. I do remember that. Andrew Williams saying you won't listen to us. We've been panning him for months, talking about Bruno. No more Bruno hate, says Rajat. And Andrew comes back with Bruno's not a skipper. Andrew Williams is also saying here, as a footballer, he can't control himself either. He's a liability. Big T saying him, McTominay's our skipper. Did you see him with Ten Hag in the pressure earlier? He cemented his place in the team. If he's fit, he plays. Sorry, Mr. B. Brace yourself, as I said earlier. Big up to 2004 Anamek. He says, hi guys, welcome back, by the way. He says, sad truth is we're out of the Champions League. We had two miracles happen when we went 2 goals up against Galatasaray and we blew them both times. Yeah, there you go. There's so many more comments coming in. This one's funny. Mr. B, no way Bruno got himself suspended. The Mr. Liverpool game. And Saki Guna is in the house. Judgment Day with Kane and Tuchel tomorrow. Isn't that Moss? Or I'm not sure. Maybe it is Moss. Yeah, still Moss. Yeah, it is Moss. Anyway, let's get into this, guys. That was the intro. By the way, my team won 6-0. on the weekend, and I played.
Great.
I came on and played for the first time this season.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
How the joints, man?
I'll tell you how. Shall I tell you just a quick story how I played? So my brother, I changed the system, went to three centre backs, 2 young kids. I don't know what you call them, just working 100 meters sprints up and down the wings, wing backs, or whatever. 3 guys in midfield and 2 up front because of the players, because of the personnel we had. After a couple of minutes, my brother Zico, Kahinde, he went for a tackle and his boot actually split like that. The sole came off. So he had to walk a good 10 minutes back to my car to get my boots. And by the time he got them back, I thought, I'm putting them on. I'm wearing them. So I put them on boots, got kitted up, and came on with 20 minutes to go and shored out the midfield and had about 100% pass rate. But anyway, let's not talk about this. It's not about me. It's not about me, guys. Not about me yesterday. Let's get to the real topic here. Press conference. So, Mr. B, I said brace yourself, but I'm coming to you first. Guess who rolled up as backup? You know the rest. Guess who rolled up to back him up today? It was big old McTominay, Big Scott, who was sitting there skinning deep and speaking on behalf of the managers and the players. You know how it goes. You know what was said. Just to run it down quickly, he was obviously under fire after what happened against Bournemouth, and he brought that big brute of a midfielder, the enforcer, to come on and back him up. How do you feel about that?
Are you talking to me?
Just let it out.
The same way I felt about Bruno. I don't get it. Play him as a striker and fuck him off out of the way so that we can get some control of midfield. I don't understand what is going on. He wants to get himself sacked, bro. You can't play in the Premier League with one holding midfielder and everybody else runs off all over the pitch. It can't happen. It can happen against Chelsea because Chelsea are shit. Yeah? It can't happen on Monday. I don't understand what he's doing. And then the fact that this guy, yeah, talentless, yeah, he runs up and down, fantastic. Ask him to control the ball outside our box. And what does he do? Boom, the ball bounces off and they get a goal. Ask him to defend in our box. What does he do? Give away bloody penalties. I don't understand. And then I didn't listen to the press conference. I was so mad. When I saw him rolling up, and I didn't watch it. So you lot are going to have to enlighten me now, please.
Bath time, you watch the press conference.
Yeah.
Bath time, if you're under fire like he is, I mean, do you shout out to the dressing room, who wants to come to the press conference with me? Is it one of them ones where only Scott turns up because he's on form at the moment? Or do you think
nobody else wanted to go?
He selected him purposely for some reason. What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely loved it when he turned up because I deliberately picked a video to send to Mr. B of the camera starting on Ten Hag and then panning across to McTominay, knowing it would annoy him. It was brilliant. No, I mean, look, Scott has been asked to go there because he represents everything that Ten Hag has been asking his players to do, and it's a bit of a reward. And there's no way that Ten Hag could take the other player that has really stepped up, which is Maguire. I think that's too embarrassing for Ten Hag to sit there with Maguire. And I'm fully expecting McTominay to be captain against Liverpool in Bruno's absence. I don't think you can give it back to Maguire. I think it's too much of a sort of backtrack. And I think it's a reward for what he's been doing. And I know a lot of people are sort of blaming McTominay for being the issue in the midfield, but I obviously have a slightly different view on what's going on, where McTominay's job now, as we always talk about, is just to run channels, both defensively and offensively, apply the final touch. You know this, Mr. B, but also he's part of the counter press now. He's not part of defending against transitions. And the big problem with Ten Hag's setup is that you're right, there is no one next to Amrabat for defensive transitions, because to defend a transition, it's a pretty simple thing. You need 3 players central, which would be, you know, in our best team, let's just say it's Casemiro, Varane, and Martinez. Those players would be central, and their job is to protect the centre. And then you have 2 players that defend the wide areas. So players like Ollie Watkins or whatever, who sort of run into space, their job is to go out with them. In Ten Hag's system, we don't have any players that defend those wide areas. So when Casemiro, Amrabat, or Eriksen are faced with like a transition, what they should be doing is dropping back. But instead, and I don't blame them for this, they go and commit, and it's a structural issue, and you've got to be looking at the fullbacks. You've got to be looking at the fullbacks and Bruno Fernandes in these situations. That none of them are disciplined enough to just stay. They both wander too much. I mean, again, I don't know if you remember this, lads, but for the Newcastle preview, I said that I fully expected Newcastle to target our left back really hard.
Yeah.
Against Bournemouth, Reguilon was targeted harder than Carlos the Jackal. Well, he might have been an assassin, actually. He was targeted harder than Salman Rushdie in the 90s. And you're talking, Mr. B, about the pass that McTominay miscontrolled. I'm kind of with you on that, where I put myself in his situation and wonder, what can you do with that pass? But that pass came from Reguilon, and he was deliberately targeted. Every time Reguilon was on the ball, it was a pressing trigger, and they got him at the back post. And a large part of that is down to the performance of Amrabat, which I'd love to talk about because everyone's raving about him. He's an absolute liability to this football team and has to be dropped.
So he's a bigger liability than McTominay.
1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. Amrabat is going to be the death of Ten Hag if he keeps playing. All right, I'll tell you why.
Go on, yeah, I want to hear this.
All right, both of you, right? You're both footballers. Omondi, when you're playing against a striker, in the first couple of minutes, what things are you looking at in that man that you can exploit or that scare you?
I'm looking at his movement, looking at his what sort of runs he makes, how he receives the ball, what he's trying to link up. Does he control it, hold on to it? Does he pop it off first time? I'm trying to read the guy. I'm going to read everything about him, and also I'm going to clatter him in the first few minutes as well.
So you're looking for weaknesses?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mr. B, as a winger, when you look at your opposing fullback, what are you hoping to see?
He's got a big belly.
All right, so like a lack of pace.
Yeah, lack of pace, lack of control. Yeah, and lack of awareness, to be fair.
Yeah, okay. All right. When I'm playing as an interior and I'm looking at the number 6, like there are 2 things that I am looking at. I'm looking at when he takes the ball, how much of the pitch does he shut off and what angles he's able to play a pass in. And then I can get to work on him. And with Amrabat, you can get to work, and Bournemouth got to work on him because when he receives the ball, he always goes at a 45-degree angle to try and protect himself. So, you know, he can do that kind of Gascoigne hook with the outside of his foot, or he can swing a hip over to protect the ball. But what it does is it completely narrows the pitch. And it means that they can all come across over. We've seen this countless times where he plays a blind ball inside. He did it to Maguire at the weekend. He did it to Lindelof the other day. All of that is down to how he receives the ball. The second thing is his touches are very mincy, like prancing little touches. They don't get the ball out, so it shortens his passing range tremendously. And we can only go down the right-hand side of the pitch. Now, we want to go down the left-hand side of the pitch. So when McTominay, in the way you did it, said miscontrolled that ball out on the left, McTominay had to swap with Bruno because his job is to run channels on the other side. When Amrabat plays, we get completely stuck on the right-hand side of the pitch because of his inability to take the ball correctly. All defensive structures are based on narrowing the pitch. Amrabat, with his first touch and his little touches, he narrows the pitch for the defenders. It's a real issue in that team. It's going to get us in trouble.
I'm going to stop you there while we're on the topic because there's a few comments coming in about this Amrabat situation. I just want you to touch on. All right, let's just go back here. Scott is never in the right place for us defensively, says Andrew Williams. Always too far up the pitch, as Mr. B was saying earlier. We can either have him or Bruno in the team, not both. And we got Damien saying here, you get a double-decker bus into our midfield very easily and penetrate with ease. Talk about how open we are at the moment. Scott has got obsessed with goals, scoring goals, sit in front of the back four when we are under pressure, for F's sake, he says here. There was, sorry, let me just go find these Amrabat. Here we go. At least Amrabat plays where he should. Now, maybe he does, but what you pointed out there, I did notice he was getting pinched and there was a few dodgy moments where they were on him. You try to turn out and you went into really fine detail about the body shape.
Do you think I'm being over the top?
No. When I listen to you, I do recall certain times my heart was in my mouth when he's trying to turn out. It just doesn't. He looks uncomfortable, and I never thought that as him. I thought he's very comfortable on the ball, but he does look a bit uncomfortable. And then when you explained about the body shape and things like that in fine detail, it does make sense. I can't really argue too much with you regarding Reguilon. Reguilon offers more threat in attack than our forwards do, so it's like the pros and cons, isn't it? About coming down the left side. Reguilon has been quite effective going forward. We Deserve Better says, I disagree. They had two men on Amrabat and McTominay was a Scarlet Pimpernel. Kinshala's in the house as well. He said, evening lads, just joined. How have we agreed how much we're going to lose by yet? Okay, just settle down. And here we go. Big T saying here, bath time. Why do we keep seeing Bruno over on the left? Do you think it's tactical so McTominay can boss the attacking midfielder? First leg horse, now McTominay displaced Bruno. Why? And Scott here is not a captain, says Damien Walsh. Want to say hi to MUFC Montreal. They don't teach footballers to play in a way that they get better with those small details in Italy as well. So yeah, just leave it there for now. But that's the issue we're having there. Do you want to continue with that? Because I want to move on with a couple of other things.
I want to hear what Mr. B thinks about my Amrabat slander.
Okay.
Is that unfair, Mr. B?
I'll watch it. I'm going to watch it because we disagreed. The Chelsea game, you thought Amrabat was crap.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought he was pretty good, and quite a few people thought he was pretty good. So I'll watch his right angle, picking up the passing, and then I'll get back to you. I'm probably not going to do it. I'm not going to study it in the game tomorrow,
Okay.
or maybe not the Liverpool game. So it might be 2 weeks that I get back.
Just watch his World Cup highlights. You'll probably enjoy them.
It might be 2 weeks that I get back to you on that one, bath time.
All right, guys. So regarding the press conference again, so obviously he's asked about availability. Looks like Lindelof is touch and go. I think he's travelled, but there's still a question mark about him. He's going to have to wait and see till tomorrow. And yeah, it's just talking about the aftermath of the Bournemouth game. Can he turn it around? Obviously, he refers to the Chelsea and the Everton game and all the good games and parts of the spell where they played well against Galatasaray. He's always talking about the positives, but not so much the negatives. And yeah, I mean, Eric, how do you inject that belief into your players? What kind of methods do you employ to give them that? So obviously it's about man management. How do you get the most out of players? Because they've been accused, especially by Andy Tate as well, who gave Bruno and Højlund the finger the other day. They've been accused of not giving their all. So that's where the manager comes under pressure because he said he's not getting a tune out of them. So he said regarding that, how do you get the best out of your players and inject that belief into them? He said, we have to show them the clips from Chelsea game at home. Okay, this is what he said, and how we can play. If we do that, we are there all on one page. Stick together. We have a good plan. Then we go. As I said, we can beat any opponent. So with Liverpool and Bayern Munich coming this week, are you encouraged by that? Go and look at the Chelsea game, see how good we can play, apparently. And, that's what he's going to show the players. Any response to that, guys?
Chelsea were shit on Monday. I said that to you at the time. Chelsea were crap. So he's going to go make us watch a team that we against another a crap team. And Chelsea are nowhere near like Bayern. It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
I mean, to be fair, though, Everton and Fulham have put in very good results recently. Yeah, and we did, I mean, we could have conceded, obviously, to Everton a few times, but we did beat them pretty handedly. And I saw us against Fulham, and we were good against Fulham. We should have had another McTominay goal, in my view, but Amonde's boy, Maguire, once again stopping a goal scoring opportunity like he did to Anthony. But like, what do you expect Ten Hag to say? Like, this is what always annoyed me about Rangnick, where he just came out and went, "Yeah, all the players are rubbish. We need 10 new ones." Like, he's got to motivate them and he's got to get them up. But most of all, he's got to get them to believe in that system, because I get the impression that Bruno is falling out of love with Ten Hag. We've seen that Rashford, like, I'm not a great fan of body language and stuff, but we can see that they're disappointed and they're angry on the pitch and they're frustrated with what's going on around them. And then you look at McTominay, Anthony, Højlund, even Maguire, who all seem to at least be trying to play the system. Like, Harry Maguire is finding himself in really odd situations. Like, it's like me turning up in the Arctic or something. He's on the edge
he doesn't receive the ball? Onana doesn't pass with the football, don't you?
Sorry?
Maguire?
You see when you watch the games, it's always passed to the left-sided defender, centre-back. Onana very rarely passes it to Maguire. Is that a system thing?
Yes. Yeah, definitely, because the left-sided centre-back, or at least the guy with the best left foot, is the furthest deepest in our line all the time. And the reason is it's about ball progression, because we want to go down the left-hand side, right? We want Bruno, Shaw, Garnacho, Amrabat or Mainu on the ball. That's how we sort of circulate the ball, and then we spring it to McTominay at the back post, or we use Anthony as the outlet to open the game up. So we're always going to go down the left-hand side. On the rare occasion it goes to Maguire, it's normally for a direct ball to Garnacho over the top. So these are all system things. And to be perfectly honest, it's a bit mad to do it without a left footer in the team. Like, we've been doing it all season, and I know we got Shaw back, but I don't necessarily think Shaw is a particularly good centre back. I know everyone seems to think he's great, but he's playing at centre back so he can receive the ball and progress it to Reguilon, Garnacho, and the rest of them. And this is another reason why it annoys me with Amrabat, because he can only pass the ball right. He's like your man Zoolander, who can only turn right or something like that. It's like, that's what Amrabat's like. And that's why you find McTominay having to receive the ball with his back to goal on the left-hand side. Like, I don't understand what Erik Ten Hag is doing with his system. It's there's no variation to it, or no, just try and get everyone in the best positions and get the best out of them. It's really crazy to me.
Sounds to me as well, from what you're saying, it's an issue of personnel. You talk about Amrabat, you're roasting him. You talk about the left back position as well, saying we haven't got, as Mr. B was saying, we've got a single pivot, and maybe a left back or a right back supposed to come into midfield to give us that security sometimes as well. So is it a case of personnel rather than the tactics? We're on
personnel.
Sorry?
They're his personnel.
Who? Amrabat. Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Amrabat,
Reguilon, yeah. So maybe they're not good enough to perform what he's asking in this league.
Would you sign either of them? Like, at the end of the season?
Beforehand, I was all up for getting Amrabat. I thought, yeah, maybe he'd be a good squad player to come in. I didn't think he'd be starting games all the time like he is right at the moment. Because we had Casemiro, and obviously I put Kobe over him going forward, So I didn't think he'd be a main starter. And then the same with Reguilon. Obviously, we've got Malacia was out for a long period of time. So that was an essential loan signing. Both of them are loan signings. They're temporary players, and they're actually playing first-team football at the moment. So maybe that's an issue as well. In the press conference bar time, the manager was asked about that. And he said last season he had less kind of injuries. There's only suspensions with Casemiro. So it was more of a consistent side. At the moment, we're seeing him have to shuffle the pack almost every week.
Yeah, so I think that's on him, because he has a group of players that can play out on the right. Maguire is probably our best passer of the football in the back four. Like, he's got Dalot, Anthony, Bruno could go out on the right. We've seen him on the right.
I mean, is he even a good passer, Maguire?
Yeah, no, he's a very good passer. Like, there are issues to Maguire's game that OMONDI will never talk about, such as his running style, where he looks like an out of control windmill. Like his arms are never straight when he runs OMONDI. I don't know how he does it.
No, that's true.
It's really
Balance.
weird.
But balance
Yeah.
his head tips to one side.
Yeah, it's absolutely mental. It's like Rashford. Rashford's so unbalanced as well. You'd think at a professional football club, you'd get someone in who would teach them the basics of running, like that sort of stiff upright position. But no, but yeah, we've got the ability to play out on the right, and we've got the players that can do it. But we keep playing out through the left, and this is why like Varane has fallen out of the team, because he doesn't want Maguire playing that left-sided centre-back role. And
why? Because he can't pass.
I'm not. I don't know why. I think he probably thinks that Maguire's a little bit too slow on the ball to play there, because Maguire can be a little bit. He's very cautious on the ball. Maguire. He doesn't lose it that often, but he can slow attacks down.
Okay, guys, let's go for some comments here because there's loads of them coming through. I want to say big up to everyone. Andrew saying Ten Hag will be gone in Feb. Why in Feb? Wouldn't it be better to go in January when we can get some signings in or something? Damien Walsh is saying here, Amrabat very average. Totally agree with bath time. So Damien agrees with you there, bath time. Is Amrabat playing in a 45-degree angles because he has misinterpreted the phase square it? Big T, very good. Rajet's in the house saying McTominay on
Musiala.
Good luck tomorrow, McTominay. Not good. So he's a great player, isn't he? UK Strange saying here, Eric Ten Hag refusing to play Varane because of issues off the pitch will be his downfall. We need Varane in the team, but Mr. Ten Hag is stubborn and will achieve nothing. Big T saying here, Anthony's left footer playing on the left. Man United can test Bruno out for this weekend with Hannibal, said Rajat. Andrew Williams saying, let's be honest, Ten Hag has been pretty rubbish. He never seems to be able to solve problems he's been given. UK Strange is saying, just listen to Eric Ten Hag's press conference. He's talking like we are challenging for titles. We're heading in the right direction was his words after losing to Bournemouth 3-0. Okay, UK Strange, good point. I want to say hi to Cop on podcast. Obviously, Cop, we're playing you this weekend and we're coming to Anfield. So welcome. Thanks for tuning in and make sure you subscribe. He's saying here, Eric Ten Hag's signings have been very poor on the whole. That's fair. He's spent a fortune and hasn't improved anyone. Harry Maguire, Shaw, and McTominay have been your best players this year, and that says it all. Can we respond to Cop on podcast, Mr. B?
Harry Maguire has been our best player. Harry Maguire's he's played in the team by default. The two players who we wanted to sell are the two players who are our best players, and we were the ones who we talk about. I'm not having it, bruv. I'm not. We're not winning anything with those two starting. Yeah, Maguire's playing well, but let's be honest. Maguire shouldn't even be in the team. And I'm not even going to get into McTominay, so I'll just leave that one for another. I'm not even going to leave it for another day. I'll just try and leave it now.
Where do you think West Ham would be with Ward-Prowse, McTominay, and Harry Maguire?
I'll do a shit.
Brilliant.
I don't care.
Okay.
I honestly, I don't care. I wish they had taken him. I really wish they had taken him.
All right, let's get on with these comments. You can change saying I'd send all the loan players back at the end of the season. We know Reguilon and Amrabat are on loan. I expect Eric Ten Hag to resign at the end of the season. He's been hung out to dry from Bart. How you doing, Bart? Exactly, our best players have been players there before Ten Hag. That tells us all no progression. That's from Big T. Andrew Williams saying Maguire is not a good passer, too slow on the ball, so even accurate passes put our players under more pressure. Good point, in theory. Big G saying here, in my opinion, if we don't have the players to work to the tactics, then Eric Ten Hag must adapt his tablets.
He's been doing that. He's been doing that. When has he ever played? Have you ever seen Eric Ten Hag play the way that he's been playing? With a great crashing central midfielder?
Yes.
He's adapting.
Donny van de Beek. Donny was playing McTominay's role at Ajax.
Oh Lord,
he was.
Yeah, he was.
He was running the channels and crashing the box. Well,
that's Ten Hag's problem straight away then. So he's replaced Donny van de Beek with McTominay.
Yes, he has.
Fucking hell.
Going forward, Cop on podcast saying how many United players would get into an Arsenal team. I'll take none of them at Liverpool. talking about our current players in the squad. I'm not going to get into that, but clearly the league doesn't lie. They're a better team than us at the moment. Big up to Stephanie Griffiths as well. She said there's 15 likes. She wants more. Thank you, guys. Press the like button for us. The UK Exchange saying the way I'm talking is a direct result of poor quality football for 10 years. I'm probably overreacting. I'm a local lad, and this poorly run club is killing my mojo, unfortunately, for UK Strange. One for you, Mr. B. We deserve better saying. Mr. B, you have my sympathy. Some of this is complete madness, and the players FC as well. Rajiji's in the house. He's saying, oi, oi, peeps, what a bad patch we had. Even with a win, we can go out of the Champions League, and a draw at the weekend sounds right. We need a big shake-up of both players and coaches, and Eric Ten Hag we trust. Now, just finished up with the press conference. Scott McTominay, which I started with, he was brought in today, and he was obviously given the microphone, and he said that all the players are behind Ten Hag and the system and the way they play. This is what he actually said. So what you take from that, and whether are you going to call him a liar like we did with Ollie, I don't know, but that's what the man said, and that's what he was there to say. That, you know, he said all the players are behind him, behind Ten Hag. I think that's. Are
you behind Ten Hag, Amondo?
Am I behind him? Of course I'm.
Yeah,
behind him.
You're still behind him. Okay.
Of course I am. I've got no issues right now with the Ten Hag. He's not the problem, in my opinion. We all watched the game against Bournemouth. We shouldn't be losing to Bournemouth, mind. But I don't think you should have put it all on the manager. We have to look. Someone's talking here about 10 years. In 10 years, I'm getting disheartened. I've lost my mojo. So what's got to change? Do we change the manager time again? Expect things to change? Can I just say I've watched a beautiful thing the other day. I won't be able to sort of. This is in response to your question there.
Mm-hmm.
Am I behind Ten Hag? When Moyes came in after. You know, he started to turn things around. Obviously, Fergie left a side that would just won the league. You think, all right, we should be able to do it from now on. But obviously, a new manager comes in, has to do things his way. And he didn't get the signings he wanted. So when Moyes came in, we all know this anyway. I'm just repeating things we all know, but I'm just going to put it in a different perspective from my perspective. After a few months, when we started to get bad results, reports came out that the players were unhappy with the training methods and the running. He is sacked. Louis van Gaal comes in, gets us 4th place. He actually won an FA Cup as well. Then he got sacked because they were saying the repetitive training, doing the same thing over and over again, which I think there's nothing wrong with that if you want to adopt a system. Who gets sacked? Not the players, but the manager. Mourinho comes in. We all know what happens there. We were doing okay for a period of time. We won the Europa League. And then the reports come out again. Guess what? Guess what, guys? The players were unhappy with the training methods. And we saw the spat we had with Pogba and that kind of thing. So there's a tussle there between forces of management and players again. And then we come to now with Ollie. Recently, Ollie, the same thing applied. It was great when he come in. He was cutting their toenails, powdering them and all that kind of thing. But suddenly, shit hit the fan again. And guess what? A report came out that the players were unhappy with Ollie. And now we're in Ten Hag era. And guess what? We're seeing it again. Is the players have come out again and said they're unhappy with training methods and what's going on.
All right.
Well, I put after all that. That's my point. That's why I back the manager, because it seems to be a pattern here over the last 10 years where some people losing their mojo. We need to wake up, scratch the surface, and realise player power is in charge. Back the manager who's doing the right job and being disciplined enough to get rid of and address players like Varane, like Ronaldo, like Sancho, like Rashford, and get these players.
Varane.
Yeah. Varane and Ronaldo.
We don't know. It's not official yet. It's not official yet, but something's going wrong there with Varane. He needs to get these players in line and get them on track. If they're not on track with what he's trying to do, then they're axed, and that's what a manager has to do.
No, but right. So Monday, right? I don't disagree with a lot of what you've said there, but it sounds to me that you're supporting the sort of symbology of a manager, not Ten Hag, because Ten Hag has huge flaws. Like you know these. We need 3 things to be a good team in the Premier League. We need to be able to play through a press. We need to be able to press, and we need our players to be in physical condition. He's responsible for all of those, and we haven't seen any of that. So if we replace the manager, we might be able to get that. We might be able to get the basics of what you need to be a decent Premier League
how long?
team.
For 1 month, and then they're going to be sulking again.
Yeah, but that's the point, right? Is that there's 2 distinctions here. I'm not saying that we should support the players over the manager, right? That can't happen. The manager's got, the coach has got to be in charge, and the players have routinely let us down and let the manager down and everyone. But I don't think that Ten Hag has the necessary qualifications, having seen him for 2 years, to be good enough to coach Manchester United, regardless of what the players are doing. Like Van Gaal, yes, I wasn't a huge fan of his football, but that's the only time post Fergie we controlled football matches. Like Ollie's football was mental and exciting, and also extremely boring, all at the same time, and all these things, and the players contributed to them going. But with Ten Hag, do you support him, OMONDI, as a coach, or are you supporting him because you're sick of the players?
I'm supporting him as a coach, okay? And as I've gone through there's a pattern there, like I just relay. We can't get away from you talking about things going wrong. Things are going wrong for the previous managers as well. You know, I don't have to go through it again. Moyes, Van Gaal, this is right away where they got sacked. When shit hits the fan and things are going wrong, the players are moaning about it, it suggests the players are doing something wrong and not giving their all. And they're not performing as they should be for a club like Manchester United Football Club. I would say I'm happy with his tactics. I'm happy with the way he's coaching. I'm happy with his discipline. Okay, just great quote here the other day. Everton beat Chelsea. Now, no surprise there, but you know, because the way Chelsea are playing at the moment. But guess what? The Everton manager, who you love, Sean Dyche, who keeps things quite A, B, C, very simple. He said about Pochettino, I don't know if it's true or not, but I see this quote saying about Pochettino. He said sometimes managers can overcomplicate things with tactics and all that kind of thing. He said, I keep things simple. And that's how he continues to go on and win. And I think that was a very interesting point there about keeping things simple as a manager. You can go into details. All these great coaches coming out with UEFA badges and that, go into details and all these sort of tactics boards and all that kind of thing. But there are
like
some...
Ten Hag.
Well, Ten Hag's come from Ajax school, and they that's what they like. That's they're ingrained in their DNA. Don't you think, Mr. B?
Yeah, but sorry, Mr. B. We watched a video on Monday about like a year ago with Sean Dyche talking about how pressing was the new passing. Like Sean Dyche's Everton can press, and they can press better than we can. And that kind of speaks to my point, is that Chelsea have a better collection of players, but the better coach, able to get his system across to the players, won the match. And I think that speaks to the quality of Erik Ten Hag, where I think that he lacks in that area.
And I think that speaks to the qualities of some... Sorry, Mr. B. So that speaks to the qualities of someone like Sean Dyche, that he's he's very good at, is getting his basics over to his group of players.
Exactly.
Mr. B, I mean, where are you at with this? Because obviously we've seen Andy Tate last week on Monday. He's back the manager, now he's going against...
I know. I don't. I want Ten Hag to be here. I would rather he got rid of every single one of those trashy bastards who don't give a shit. Honestly, I do. Yeah. I back him. He came in. He did overachieve last season. Let's not get it twisted. He did. You know, we had Rashford scoring more goals than we ever thought possible, and now Rashford's back to normal. He's struggling. You know, I think maybe he may well have pinned his hopes on the wrong guys. You know, and I think he's still doing it.
So you support him when he picks McTominay?
No, I don't. But I just think he has to do McTominay. He has to do, because McTominay's the only one who listens. I don't know what McTominay does Bath time. I want midfielders
who all the time.
Yeah, but he's not a striker Bath time.
He's not playing as a striker.
I want... What's he playing as? What's he got? He's a free number 8.
Yeah.
He's playing in a free role as a number 8. He doesn't have the brains to play a free role. He runs up, he runs down. Giving the ball to pass back, bounces off his foot. What's the point then? We're playing with a man less Bath time.
We're not, right? So what?
Fucking hell. Bath, you know what? There's no point you trying to explain this to me, bro. I'm never going to get it.
There's so many comments coming through. Quickly, Ange at Spurs, go and watch how they play. They run their asses off. Says Andrew Williams. And Sean Dyche has a lovely voice. Thank you for that contribution there. All right, listen, just quickly, we're going to talk about Bayern Munich before we go into the solo 11. Because obviously we have to match up against Bayern Munich, who lost 5-1 at the weekend to
Eintracht Frankfurt,
who got to the final a few years ago, didn't they, of the Europa League, or one of the two. So anyway, they played 4-2-3-1. Obviously, formations don't really matter, but what we do know about them, they got Leroy Sané and they got Coman on the wings. They've got what's his name again? The English one.
Musiala.
Musiala. Harry Kane up front. Musiala in the hole. Goretzka and Kimmich in midfield. Two great guys in midfield. Mr. B shaking his head already. Their back four is pretty good as well. I mean, if you look for Alonso Davis, the Canadian sprinter.
I don't think he's going to play. He was because for the goals against Eintracht, he was singled out as being responsible for the majority of them. Okay,
so that'd be interesting if they do drop him for that. And the ex-Ajax player, right back, who a few of the guys know in the comments, the Moroccan guy, Musiala, Mazraoui. And then obviously the centre back, they've got Kim and
Upamecano. You're brilliant at this, Monday. I wish you were on the news at 10.
Somebody's just making up names.
I've got it here as well. I still can't read it out. But so obviously in goal they've got Neuer. He's back after a lot of injuries. So we know that's a strong team. We played them already. That's a strong team. But what is Stola, with all that what we discussed today about the Ten Hag, our system, our players, and knowing that we have to win against Bayern Munich. It's a must-win game, by the way, guys. Must-win game. We have to go there and win. We've seen what Bayern Munich can do. We've seen them. They haven't lost a group game for so long. How do we set up against this team to get the must-win game and get the 3 points? Over to Solo's 11. Okay, let's start in defence because it's crucial. We conceded 6 against them last time, so it's important we don't concede. Conceded 3 at home against Bournemouth. So here we go. No left-sided centre-back. He's brought back Varane, Champions League Varane for this Champions League must-win game. And at right back, we got Delot, who's Bathtime's favourite at the moment. And left back Shaw instead of playing at centre-back. And Harry Maguire, obviously. So that's the back 5. Mr. B, Bathtime, do you want to sort of just break that down? Is that good enough? And is it realistic to think Varane's going to be coming in?
Of course not. Like, Miss B, do you think Varane will just suddenly turn up against Bayern Munich after not being in the team for 6 weeks?
Well, something needs to be done. We're conceding 3 goals every home game we play. So as good as we're playing, I think something needs to be done. Shaw's left position is left back. Play him in his position. He's back from fitness. Play him in his position.
Agreed.
Maguire can play left centre back. All right, he plays the ball slow, but he can play it. Varane is better than Lindelof. So you play your best defenders. The one that I'm not sure about is the Dalot and Wan-Bissaka. That's the one that I'm not really sure about, to be fair.
Is that because we're coming up against Bayern Munich's fantastic wing play, Leroy Sané and
I mean, I think whichever one of the right backs play for United, I still think they're going to get exposed by the Bayern wingers. So whether it's Dalot getting exposed at the far post or Wan-Bissaka not looking at the man who's running behind him, I think there's going to be issues with either one of them. So I think it's horses for courses.
I quite like this team, to be honest, because you can have Delot play as the third centre back, so you can have Varane, Maguire, and Delot as your back 3. You've got Amrabat and Kobe to defend. Like one can go and defend the channel on their side. So like if you saw Trippier getting ripped apart on Sunday, a lot of that was because of channel runs. Like, do you remember that ball that he couldn't head properly because there was someone too close to him and Son was on the outside? Like in the system here, one of Mainu or Amrabat, depending on which side it would be, would go and deal with that. You've then got Shaw providing width, and the only real issue there is Bruno and Rashford. I think Rashford's out of form, and he hasn't even ruled out with the sniffles. Aren't him and Martial injured from a cold?
Did they not train today?
No.
Oh wow.
Well, look, I mean, to be fair, it wouldn't even surprise me. It's strange how he's had a lot of sniffles since he's lost his position on the left, isn't it?
You should come play football with my Colombian 5-a-side players.
Call Sancho over. He's got a lot of free time. He loves New York as well. He diddy parties and all whatever he does over there.
But would you have that on Monday?
I just look at the opposition. I think, wow, we're under it. We've got deal with Harry Kane, who's not really. You don't really have to man mark him. It's just what he does is movement in the box, gets a yard, he can shoot, he will score. It's with Bayern Munich. The way I've seen them play, is a lot comes from their wide men. They're so fast. They're so good. Especially Coman. I think Coman doesn't get enough credit. So you're going to need to stand up on these guys. It reminds me of playing Arsenal at Emirates last year when we were up against Saka and Martinelli.
Oh yeah.
And you had to really.
Ericsson was eaten alive by Saka, wasn't he? And Shaw as well. Yeah.
So when we come up against these teams with two good wide men, world class, better than Saka, better than Martinelli, in my opinion, I just think we do need to sort of compensate a little bit and maybe have a bit more insurance in midfield to cover those when we're in situations like that. Because we don't want to leave them one-on-one situations, or we don't want to get too high up the pitch where they're bombing on. I can just visualize it now, seeing Bayern Munich, Sane running through. Just trying to run through. So something needs to be done to have a bit more insurance there. That's the only thing I would say. So I do understand why Solo's gone with two sort of number sixes, maybe with Mainu and Amrabat in midfield, because I think they definitely need.
Well, you've got Kane in that space as well. Like Kane, you've got Kane in that space as well. Like we know Kane loves dropping deep back to goal, bringing wide players into play. Like, and we've also seen that Ten Hag has this crazy system where he likes his centre backs to follow the striker all over the pitch. Like you see Lindelof popping up in the weirdest places. I think that we might see Maguire like on Kane for the majority of the match, like just following him all over the pitch. I'm a bit worried, to be honest, but we'll see. You're right, Mr. B?
Yeah, just dropped my mic on the floor. Sorry.
Okay, just to add, Jeff's in the house. He said, "Welcome back. Glad you got back safely from his US of A." We've got Andrew Williams saying Saka Martinelli, the best combo around at the moment, maybe in the Prem for wide men, and just stomp on Kane's bad ankle, says Jeff, as a solution to the problems we were going to encounter in the coming tomorrow. Hopefully it's not 5 o'clock kickoff. Surely not. Play Reguilon left wing back and Dalot right wing back because who is it? It's always someone playing free. Here we go. Reggie. Now, finally, I've always ignored this. Can we just touch on this? Regidi's always going on about playing 3-4-2-1. And that 3 would be Maguire, Varane and Lindelof, who might not be able to play. Then we've got Shaw and I don't know who the other fullback, wing-back is. It doesn't say. McTominay, Bruno, Mount. Well, you can see the rest, but basically playing 3 centre-backs. Can we actually start to sort of have a conversation about this, or is it complete nonsense? Remember a couple of years ago when we needed to beat Red Bull in the final group game of the Champions League under Ole, and he went back to a system which we went to 5 at the back, and we were 3-0 down in the first 20 minutes. He's not going to change his formation, is he?
No, I mean, the thing is that in that system, that you're the fullbacks are the guys that are providing the width. Whilst Dalot might be able to do it, I don't think that Shaw. You get the best out of Shaw in that position, and you certainly don't get the best out of Garnacho and Anthony, with having them play inside. In my view, I don't think it's a good idea, and we're light on centre backs as it is. Okay. But shout out for thinking of new and interesting things.
Is it right to play? If you look at the guy with his hands on his hips, that's our very own striker, Haaland. When it comes to the Champions League, he seems to turn it up. Is there a reason why he's not scored in the Premiership? What's going on with him? He seems to score in the Champions League. I don't think there's any reason. But is there any issue, something you might think psychologically, or it's just nothing to talk about?
Team around him don't give him the ball, bruv.
Yeah, that Dalot. Did you see Dalot?
He should have just. He would have. Look, it's on the plate, and he goes to shoot and smashes it into the side netting. It's things like that.
Absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it's things like that that I don't understand. You know what? Has he come into the team and everybody hates him and doesn't want him to score? You know what I mean? That's what it's beginning to look like. He's a forward. Pass him the ball. You know what I mean?
I don't normally subscribe to that kind of thing, but I do remember that one United player called him callow and couldn't believe he was in the club. So really inexperienced and stuff. And we know Dalot loves Ronaldo. Ronaldo's his hero and stuff. And it was insane for Delot not to pass him the ball there. Like his goal against Galatasaray, McTominay was in exactly the same position as Delot and just slotted it across, and it was a tap in for Højlund. And if Delot does that, we might be a different story. But my main issue with Højlund is that for this system to work, because all of Ten Hag's attacking tactics are about the channel, like about making that space between the fullback and the centre back as big as possible and having people run through it. On the right hand side, that's McTominay. On the left, it's the fullback. Like you'll see Bruno, Garnacho, and Shaw all doing that all game tomorrow to get in behind the defence. And for that to happen, Højlund has to remain central. And this is my big problem with him, is that he's not pinning centre-backs. He's drifting too much. And then when the ball does come in, I don't know what it is, but he's always a foot away from scoring a tap-in. It's happened so many times where, like, maybe it's an experience thing. Maybe it's, as Mr. B says, he's not, like, do you remember Berbatov talking about Nani's overhead kick? We mentioned this a lot about how Berbatov
run for Nani,
yeah, he knew he could just have a walk and like look at the advertising hoardings and sign a few autographs before he got in the box, because Nani was going to go through his full repertoire of skill moves before that ball came in. Maybe Højlund and Garnacho and Anthony. Interestingly, Anthony's not shooting or crossing anymore, which shown a massive improvement in his game. But maybe it's just he needs to develop a relationship with Garnacho, because we talk about centre-backs and full-backs all having relationships. But the amount of times that we've had a different left wing and a different striker this season, it has been loads. Maybe he just needs to develop that chemistry with Garnacho, where he knows what Garnacho is going to do. So if Garnacho is going to shoot, he's going to run near post and try and make some space for him. And if he knows Garnacho is going to cross, he's going to look for the pocket of space to attack. And maybe it is just an experience thing. And the defences in the Premier League are probably better than most of the ones that we've faced in the Champions League, to be honest.
Wow. All right, guys, listen, we need to win. It's a must-win game. Mr. B, is it a good thing that Bayern Munich got whacked at the weekend? Because Harry Kane came out after the game, they lost 5-1, and said we have to perform better on Tuesday. So they'd be up for it. Or like Arsenal qualified already. They're going to PSV in Holland to play the final group game. They're taking youngsters with them. Some youngsters come on the plane, meaning they might be able to get some experience and play a weaker side and not worry too much about the result. The same applies for Bayern Munich. They don't need to worry. They don't not really concerned about the result, but they could help us out by not fielding a good team or not being up for it. Is there any factors there that make sense to you?
It wouldn't have made no difference on Monday. I don't think it would have made any difference whether they won 5-1 or lost 5-1. No disrespect to what's his name? The other two teams in our group.
Galatasaray and Copenhagen.
Yeah. They would love to knock us out. You know what I mean? I'm not saying we would, but we could come back to bite them on their ass in the final. You know what I mean? So they're going to do everything they can to put us out. So I expect them to be smarting from the loss. But even if they didn't lose, I think they would still be coming there to kick our ass.
Yeah,
I mean, just going to build this up for you. Tuchel is taking over Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich, we don't really know, can't fathom over here in England just how much of a big club they are. They lost 5-1. Let that sink in. Will they really be like coming to sort of get back? He does want to lose 2 in a row, surely, as manager of Bayern Munich. Do you think that's a factor?
Yeah, I think that, like, if you have a bad day at work, you kick the dog when you get home or something. I'm not saying that you do, but there's like, how you if something bad has happened to you, you take it down, you take it out on something that's lower than you. Like, you kick a chair, or Mr. B just charges around his house like a mini Godzilla, smashing through his sliding doors, punching that picture of Ten Hag. I'm surprised that's still up after he brought McTominay into the press conference.
At least he's smiling. That's funny.
Yeah, but I think that's what Bayern are going to do to us. I think that they're going to be absolutely out for blood, and they are going to go. I mean, last season, Bayern played Manchester City in maybe the quarterfinal or the semi-final of the Champions League, and it was one of the most electrifying games I've ever seen. I saw football, I saw the meta in football change in that match, where it was the most incredible athletes running at full power, being able to receive the ball at all different angles. It was an amazing football match. And if they bring that intensity to Old Trafford tomorrow, I don't know how we're going to deal with it. I don't know what Amrabat is going to do, with Harry Kane doing it. I don't know what Shaw and Below are going to deal with those strong, these little compact, strong wingers just charging about. I'm really nervous for this game, but at the same time, it's Manchester United, which is built on dreams and delusion. And I would not be surprised if we somehow fluke our way to a 1-0 win and get in the Europa League. I really wouldn't be, because under the lights at Old Trafford, just enjoy that Champions League anthem tomorrow, because we don't know when we're hearing that again. Do you know what I mean? Stand up and salute it. Join in when it happens.
So you just talked about the score prediction. You went for maybe we could win, maybe 1-0. It could happen to get into the Europa League. But we want to get, if we win, we still got an opportunity to get into the Champions League. That just made that clear. If the other game is a draw, then we can still qualify. Mr. B, score prediction, please. And a little summary as well about what we're up against and what it means. Let's build this up. What does this really mean for the manager, for the season, for the Champions League, for the Europa League, for nothing going into the January? What does this mean this week, especially starting tomorrow with Bayern Munich getting a victory?
It would mean redemption for Ten Hag. I think it would be one of the biggest shocks in group stage history, considering the amount of games that we've lost. All of this loss, all of the stars will have to align tomorrow. It's not just about beating Bayern. The fact that the other game has to finish a draw, I just think is an impossibility. I've said it all along. I would rather we weren't in Europe. And I think we're not going to be. I don't see any way, with the players that we've got, the players who he's going to be playing, who we know he's... You know what? We probably have got players to beat Bayern, but they have to be on top form. And that's all 11 plus the subs. We're not even close to that. So do I give my score prediction as well while I'm rambling?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I'm going 3-1. I'm going 3-1, 3-0 Bayern.
You said redemption for Ten Hag, Mr. B. Do you not think it's more like in one of them reality TV shows like Big Brother or I'm a Celebrity, where they just scrape through the public vote for 1 week, but then they're out the following week?
Do you know what? I think if he managed to get through to the Champions League after all of the dross that's been served up in the group, I think it would draw a level of confidence. Those players who were the non-believers would have to start believing, because Ten Hag would have the power in January to maybe do.
You're right. You know, if he gets the Champions League, like the knockout stages, he deserves to play those games, and he should stay in charge till we, get knocked out by Porto or something. But yeah, no, I agree with you. Actually, you're right. If we get through, we absolutely fluke this one, and everything aligns. The fault is not in our stars, but with our transitions. But if it all comes through, I think you're right. Actually, I think he stays till when's Champions League second round? February.
Yeah.
February.
Yeah, I think he stays as long as he's in the Champions League.
Okay. Do you? So we get knocked out tomorrow. You think he's gone, or is a dead man walking, or deader?
Absolutely. I think that the Champions League is the only saving grace he's had, and it's not just because that's always been kind of traditional with the Glazers, like Moyes and Van Gaal all kind of when they weren't able to qualify for the Champions League. It's always kind of been like a yardstick for United. But I think with Ineos and Brailsford and all that mob, I think that they know who they want to get in to manage Manchester United. And I think they know what players they want to get in and which ones they want to move out, or they've got a good idea. And unless Ten Hag can turn it around, And like, look, if he gets, this is crazy, but if he gets to the semi-final of the Champions League, the FA Cup, and comes 5th in the Premier League or something, I know, crazy.
Yeah, go. I'll let you finish.
I think he keeps his job. Like, I think that there's enough there for him to keep his job, but that's not going to happen. So at the moment, I think that the man is terminal. Like, and it's a question of when, not if.
Wow.
Score prediction.
After all that,
2-1 United. Come on. Come on. Harry Kane to miss a penalty in the last minute.
All right.
Another saves it.
4-0. Okay, that's talking about a high-profile, high-tech game. 5-1 to Bayern, says Big G. 4-0 to Bayern Munich, and we're out, says UK Strange. We've got 6-1 from Arsenal for life. We've got 4-0 to United, says Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. Redemption till next time, says we deserve better. You were talking about redemption there, Mr. B. Bayern Munich to win 3-0 from Matthew Bassett. Man United 2-0. They rest a few, and we fluke one. That's from Andrew Williams. Rajiji saying here 3-1 Man United, and other game goes 2-2. Wow. And any more score lines? No. Seville will knock us out of the Europa League. Anyway. I'm going to go. I think that we've got to win. I just think we've got to give it everything we've got. And I think Bayern Munich don't have to win, which is good for us in a way. I think we take it 2-1, score a late goal, and make it really epic. And then hopefully rely on the other game, which is massive. It's going to be a massive day tomorrow. I can't wait for Mr. B to be lining up in his watch-along and see the emotions running through you, Mr. B.
Yeah, I'm going to be emotionless tomorrow because I know we're going to lose. There's a difference. When I expect to win, it burns. It's not going to burn tomorrow. It's not going to burn tomorrow.
Omondi, what percentage chance do you give us of being in the Champions League this time tomorrow?
I mean, I'm not a bookie. I haven't bet for a long time. I've stopped doing that. I used to make a lot of money out of it, actually. But I imagine that the odds would be probably about 16-1 or something that we qualify tomorrow. No, 8-1. It'd probably be about 8-1 for us to qualify.
So that's 20% chance?
Yeah, 8-1. That's probably what. Someone look it up for me. What are the odds that Man United qualify tomorrow? I'm saying around 8-1. Bookies wouldn't want to lose money. It is possible because they consider, because you have to look at the factors of this. Regardless of what we're saying about how poor we are, whatever, Bayern Munich don't have to win. Okay, remember that. We're playing at home. We must win. You know, Man United, maybe the conspiracy is Man United have to be in the next round rather than Galatasaray or Copenhagen. It's good for the Champions League. So you never know what sort of corruption can happen. And when you talk about numbers and that kind of thing. So if I'm being mystical or magical, I would say it's a possibility that Man United can get a squeeze or something could happen to get us here through to the next round. It's better for the Champions League than Man United are through in Copenhagen or Galatasaray.
So is this what we're doing? We're relying on corruption and conspiracy theories to get us through.
Consider it. We have
Come
to
on,
consider
Mr.
it.
Would you be happy with Europa League football?
No, clearly not. Because Liverpool at the start of the season, we were cussing them about coming 5th, and then they were saying we will see you in the knockout rounds. I'm saying hell no. Have you seen our group? And I don't want to have to go and face these guys. That said,
so you'd rather we were out?
Yeah, I'd right now. I'm not even thinking about that. I'm thinking we're going to go through tomorrow.
You're not. Wow, on Monday.
I'm not.
Seriously?
I'll come round to that. Tomorrow when we're doing our show, if we're out, then we discuss it then. But at the moment, I'm not thinking that.
I quite rate that, to be honest. Like, football's about hope, isn't it? And until that final whistle goes, you know,
my hope's gone.
Yeah,
my hope's gone.
McTominay against Brentford, Mr. B, one of your favourite memories.
Right.
Don't
just say, look, when we were asked about, I told you I used to be a betting man, like my RIP dad. Dad was a big time betting man, taught me everything I knew. I used to make a lot of money. But as I was right, I said 8-1, it's 9-1 that we qualify. So I'm not far off. So, yeah, let's not just talk.
So does that mean that if we play the set, if we simulate the set of games 9 times, once we go through?
That means, yeah, or you put down £1, you get 90 pound.
No, I like the way Bathtime said it.
No,
I like the way Bathtime said it. We played them 9 times and we beat them once. Yes, that's exactly
that's not the deciding factor. We beat them would be 4 or 5-1, which is still poor. It's the other game that we have to rely on as well. So this is why.
So we simulate all the games, and once out of 9 times, so about 12.5% is what the bookies are saying that we go through. So it's roughly a 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, because so that's what it is. 12.5% to squeak through a group with bloody Copenhagen and
Good
the other ones, the Turks.
Good value bet. It's a good value bet. 8-1. Put a tenner on it.
And you're still behind. And you're still behind Ten Hag. Like, it's a 12% chance to qualify for the Champions League on the last game of the season.
Can I give you a better thing? I don't know what the odds would have been. Probably about 14-1. Kahinde, he has a thing called what's his players first? They're called. He gets all these players that come from academies, drop out of academies, and builds them up again. They play as a side. They played in the tournament the other day. They lost 5-1, against his team, and it's a 2-legged affair. And I was saying to him, man, you're out. How are you going to come back from that? He said, oh no, we'll find a way. We'll find a way. They had the rematch the other day, and I was really, hoping he'd win. And I said, what are you going to do? Are the players up for it? He had some players missing, everything else. So the rematch was at home, okay? And they ended up winning 6-2 or something like that. Went to penalties and they won on penalties. Unbelievable. So if that can happen at that level, what's to stop it happening at this bigger level here? And there's no corruption at my brother's level. There could be more corruption here. I consider this. I will say this now. Quote me. Consider this. Man United, if you're the Champions League and you're saying to the ref or whatever, Man United, put them through. Who wants Copenhagen? Who wants Galatasaray? Who really is it?
How about twisting it on Monday? How about twisting it and saying that the Europa League needs the boost from having Manchester United and that they could set us up against Liverpool
I can go with
in
that.
The next one?
But Mr. B would be right. So I don't want, because he said he doesn't want that.
I personally want us to play in the Europa League rather than not be out of Europe, because I genuinely think it will be our best chance to qualify for the Champions League. And like, I take like
with
at
Liverpool,
the end of the season, I think so, because they're probably going to be in a title race, Liverpool, and no team has ever won the title being in the Europa League. Arsenal almost basically dropped out the first chance they could last season. So I wouldn't worry too much about Liverpool in it. And at the end of the season, I think I'd be pretty happy with the Europa League and maybe 7th or something. It'd be like that Jose season, because at least we're in the Champions League with a better draw than we could have possibly expected. So I'm up for the Europa League, and I like the idea of playing like Shea Lacey and Mainu and like all these players. Supermarket.
I don't think he would.
Away.
He won't play them. He'll still play.
He won't be managing them then.
He'll still play Superstar Scott.
No, he'll have gone by then, Mr. B. We'll have Ollie and Ralph and Carrick back.
I think I think no Europe he goes. I think no Europe he's gone. I think Europa League he might have a chance.
Do you think they keep him for Europa League?
Yeah, because he's beaten Bayern Munich.
That's true, actually. Yeah. Maybe you're right on that. Maybe tomorrow just prolongs.
Can we have a gentleman's bet in now and just say, because obviously you've got to win the game, 8-1 odds.
We're not winning.
When am I seeing you again? Do you want to have a pound bet on this?
The last gentleman's bet we had was about Galatasaray away from home. How did that one work out for you?
It didn't do too good for me.
So let's not have more peccadinos, please.
Okay. It's a sin. It's a sin. Haram, as I say. It's a sin.
Yeah.
So we won't be betting. I advise that we're not encouraging betting on here. We're just discussing the odds, guys. Because the bookies hardly get it wrong. So not encouraging anyone to bet. Just put that out there. So, guys, big game tomorrow. Mr. B will be in the hot seat doing a watch long. Don't forget about that. 8 o'clock kickoff at Old Trafford. Make or break for our season. If we want to be dining at a big boy table of the Champions League, eating big turkey legs with the rest of the big teams out there, or if we want to be eating scraps from the Europa League, or even still, if you want to be on your face begging for nothing, begging.
I think we're going to have our bowls out tomorrow night, mate. I tell you.
Yeah. Bath time. It's a pleasure having you back. Glad you had a great trip away. And Mr. B, it's over to you tomorrow at 8.
Yeah. Fucking hell.
Do us proud. Good night, everyone. Thanks a lot. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow.